Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve. I have a very special guest with us today. He's concerned with exactly what I'm concerned with, and that's making sure that in the midst of all of this economic insanity that we're going through, every patriot out there, everyone who loves faith, family, and freedom is financially secure enough to build up their own personal wealth and leave a legacy for their family and for their loved ones. My special guest today is Chris Robinette. Chris is my own financial planner. He's been very much involved in Turley Talks, and he's such a gift that I wanted to share that gift with you guys, especially with these crazy economic times. Chris is my very own go-to financial guy. He's a patriot. He served in the U.S. Navy. He was deployed to the North Arabian Gulf in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. And upon his return back in 2006, he was selected to train as a nuclear engineer and would later help build and commission the USS George H.W. Bush in Norfolk, Virginia. But after a tragedy in Chris's life, he recognizes the value and the importance of building a legacy for his family. And now he and his team help people all around the world discover just how to establish a reliable future for their loved ones through his wonderful organization, Lighthouse Planning, that I was just talking to him before. I just realized I have an appointment with tomorrow. So Chris is here to share with us his story of creating legacies for people all over the world and how you can be a part of that. So Chris, welcome, my friend. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it was good to catch up. And I'm glad you remembered tomorrow because I almost forgot. So it's even better for both of us, my friend.
It's my wife. It's my wife. Remember, we have a meeting with Scott tomorrow. My wife's from Japan. I always make her sound like she's from North Korea or something like that. Yeah, but
no, it's perfect. No, I really appreciate that introduction. And thank you so much for the opportunity to just, be here and share some knowledge and help your crowd of folks, and anything we can do to help move the needle in the positive direction for building and growing legacies is truly what we're after. And thank you. As a graduate from the Naval Academy, appreciate your ongoing commitment to all of our servicemen and women and first responders and everything like that you guys do. So from all of us to you, sir, thank you for everything too.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I've been to Annapolis, to the Naval Academy a few times. I used to actually, when I was a guitar player, I played some concerts there for the Baptist Student Union, if I recall, which was a lot of fun. They're amazing. It's wonderful. I love going on this glorious campus, this amazing campus, and everybody's calling me sir. It's just, I was like, you don't get this experience very often. Certainly not in Baltimore. That's not what they're calling me. I'll tell you that. Hey, Chris, talk to me about building legacies, particularly financial ones. Why is it important, and why is it so important to you?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. So kind of like, as you mentioned, in 2005, we were in the North Arabian Gulf oil terminal defense sectors, Iraqi freedom, enduring freedom, and stuff like that. And literally, as our ship was pulling out of Thailand and heading across the Adriatic Sea, we were just outside of helicopter range when the AMCROS message came in for me that my own mother had passed away. Wow. And being mission critical, we're cruising across the Indian Ocean for about 8 days before we finally got to a place they could offload me, because there's nowhere to go in the middle of the ocean. And by the time they were offload me, get me home and fly me all the way back to Oklahoma City for the funeral, my sister had basically been kind of, let's just go with bamboozled into signing some different documents and just kind of convinced to change some things around at 19 years old that she didn't know any better on. And my mom had distinctly laid out her trust and everything for my sister and I, and they had basically talked her into putting my stepdad in the trust because that wasn't probatable. And so they basically said, in Oklahoma, he's supposed to get a third, and your mom must have just meant to fix it. And so he walked with about $1.3 million of cash and securities from our family, which led to us having to fire sell a bunch of real estate just to be able to cover the federal tax bill. Because I don't know about you, but taxation is still theft last time I checked. And so because of that, we were asset rich, very cash poor, because we couldn't give away assets. And it was just a tough spot. And so when I was coming out of my MBA program, I had been offered a job in New York City for a mergers and acquisitions firm. And I thought it'd be awesome, just big multi-million dollar, multi-billion dollar deals and all the research and everything that goes with it. And I just never really felt the passion and the drive for it like I wanted to for the corporate world, because I was always being kind of pulled back to, small town America. I'm from a city of 60,000 people, born and raised. And where I live just south of Nashville, there's maybe 85,000 people in our town. And, I've always been not metropolitan based, but it's like Main Street based. And who do you see when you go down to the corner store and you're shopping at the co-op? Like, what are the different things you're doing to support your local community? And so I didn't really want the Wall Street vibe, but I wanted to bring Wall Street really to the people on Main Street from everything that I've learned through MBA and everything I learned through my economics and degrees, and then all the numbers in nuclear engineering, to say, what are the most consistent things that we can do to start taking the 30 to 35 things that people have any given day floating through their head, and just really distill it down to what are the 3 to 5 things we need to do in the next 12 months to really start building and growing the legacy that they want to achieve in their life. And so many people never take the time to truly slow down and say, actually, the only things I really want are this, this, and this, because we become such a society that's driven on the destination, and is driven on the result, and is driven to just get more, consume more, have more, that we've lost the ability to enjoy the journey. You'll see people going on these fall leave tours, and they'll never even look at the leaves because they're so quick to get to the next destination because they're giving out apple cider to try. And it's like they're missing the whole point of this 500-mile drive they're supposed to be on with their family and their friends to really enjoy the journey. So we've taken a lot of that components of small town America, especially here in Tennessee and Kentucky, to be like, how do we really create this journey that is going to take you 2.5, 3 years before you really get everything on autopilot for the most part, but know that you can't jam it all in 90 days. And it's okay that you can't do it all in 90 days, but taking positive and effective action to start changing your family legacy starts with your ability to take actual action.
Right.
And so what our team has done is we've come in and just said, hey, we're not billing hourly. We're not selling a bunch of stuff. It's just project-based annual retainer, because we want people to be able to ask 1,000 questions before we really come to the one answer that's right for their family. Because to truly customize someone's financial plan, their business partner is going to be different. Their brothers and sisters could be different. Their kids will be different. And we really want to take that approach on how to really distill through what they're trying to do so that we can change the legacy that they want to create, not only for themselves, but ultimately for hopefully the next 7 generations behind them of Americans.
Yeah. Wow. That's wonderful. Yeah. And I certainly can testify you do precisely that. I mean, like I say, my wife and my wife reminds me, and she says, okay, we have our meeting. You make sure you show up your meeting. And I was like, okay, we got to prepare everything and get ready.
Upload your paperwork.
I said, make sure, because it's not like a checkup per se, like a physical checkup with a doctor, but it is a check-in. Maybe that's another way of putting it. It's a check-in to see how you're doing. Let's look at your finances. Where are you? How do we want to direct and adjust and so forth? And it's just awesome that I don't have to, frankly, worry about it. I get to see you guys every few months, and we just see this wonderful progress of this goal, this 3-year, 5-year goal that we have. And so, yeah, I mean, what you just said, I mean, it's totally resonating with me. Tell us a little bit about
I'm glad it's resonating, my friend. Guidance, protection, legacy. It's the three biggest things. If you focus through those 3, you can
say those again.
Say those again. So guidance, ongoing guidance, protection, even just simply protecting your family and your interests. And then legacy, like thinking above and beyond you. What are charitable goals? What are endowments you want to create? What's something that you could give your money to, being your church, your local community, or any institution that really has meaning to you, that you can leave that legacy of all the values and principles that you're trying to instill down, and the money to support the goals and missions of it.
Right. Yeah. And you guys have been amazing with my 3 kids in college and one at a classical school. It's been, boy, I don't know how I could have handled that just by myself.
You guys are doing a great job, Steve.
We're doing well. Yeah. Thanks to you, Coach. I mean, come on. What's the difference about the way you approach financial advising over and against, say, another firm?
Yeah. So, there's kind of the two main big industries in financial advising and planning are always at war with each other. You have all the investment advisors that are like, hey, buy term, invest the difference. Every dollar of anything you ever do just goes in the stock market. You're going to make money on it eventually. Just go do all this. And they're not really charging you because they're just getting paid on whatever you're depositing into their accounts. But you're really not doing anything that's not stock market related because they don't want you investing in real estate. They don't want you looking at RV parks and storage facilities and things like that. Crypto is way off the table until the SEC finally regulates it. And then, advisors can get paid on it because otherwise they don't want you to do it, because at the end of the day, you're the commodity and they're selling you the product of investing so that they can get paid for it. And that's fine.
Right.
That's how they operate. But then you have the big insurance companies. And, you have these people that aren't caring about the stock market, but it's all like, hey, everything's whole life, everything's IUL, everything's VUL, don't invest $1 in anything. Don't buy any, real estate. Don't buy any of this other stuff still, because it's how much can you stick into this one thing, and let's do what's the best just in this one thing. And then eventually you'll have so much money, you never need anything. Well, what we found is both of those sides are amazing, but they're completely inefficient without both of them being able to work together. And so where a lot of our business model has migrated from a lot of the rest of the folks in the country is we bring our clients in on an annual retainer. It's based on their income classes, complexities, and stuff like that, kind of where they're at. And then say, hey, here's what it's going to cost for us to continuously provide ongoing guidance and advice for your family, because of those 3 to 5 things we do need to start working on. Even if it's bringing in estate planning attorneys, business attorneys, tax strategists, making sure that bookkeeping and accounting is working. For your high-end net worth discerning clients over 10 million, we're connecting them with a family office to start really doing a lot of concierge stuff to take it off their plate, things like that. A lot of people in our situation aren't doing that because they say, hey, we'll do all your planning for free, whatever fits in your bucket, buy this thing from me or this thing from me. And what I find is by customizing the financial plans for every one of our clients, some people need to do just a bunch of investments, and that's the best thing for them. Some people need to do a bunch of insurance, and that's the best thing for them. But some people need to do some investments, some insurance, some crypto, some self-storage, passive income, active income, and a whole slew of other things, while also having opportunity to give back to their communities and the cities that they're in that preclude the person who's representing them from getting paid if I don't let you put the $50,000 in the account. So by charging annual engagement fees, we're not billing hourly. We're answering questions and having periodic meetings throughout time, just like you see all the time, Steve. And it allows us to be able to provide objective fiduciary advice to all of our clients. So if putting $100,000 into their church campaign that year is the most beneficial thing for their family and their beliefs and where they're going, then we're right there alongside with them on here's how the $100,000 should go in. Here's how you should make payments. Here's what accounts we should be pulling it from. Here's how we're going to rebuild those accounts back up for you to do the next thing. And here's how all this stuff layers together. So, ultimately, I feel our differentiating factor is because we're not looking at account numbers. We're looking at account names and the different clients and really learning what's best for them in their situation, and then helping them move to that situation, even if we don't ever get paid for the things they go do, because it's what's best for them. It's best for their family.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. Let's pivot a little bit to the economy as we're seeing sort of the Biden inflation insanity that's going on.
Oh yeah.
What are you doing to help clients prepare and protect themselves?
Unfortunately, we're still seeing a lot of people sitting in cash, but cash could be king when we come out of a lot of these forbearance situations, as 8%, 9%, potentially higher inflation rates are kind of out there. It just kind of sucks knowing, hey, my money is parked in the bank and I'm losing purchasing power, but we're super liquid. So for some of these people that are wanting to purchase real estate, or they are wanting to get in some of these business developments and syndications, they're actually sitting on dry powder for that when a lot of these buildings all of a sudden have a lot of vacancies and someone's saying, hey, I'm pre-foreclosure because I way overbuilt this development. Now I want to sell something 50 cents on the dollar.
Right.
Now we have a ton of clients that are positioned to go in and swoop up a lot of these really cool, interesting assets. And, a lot of times you get rich in a bull market. You're making 15, 20, 30% a year. Hopefully you're doing great stuff. But true generational wealth is found in the bear markets when there's a lot of blood on the streets and fear and just people are just selling things for pennies on the dollar, that if you're positioned in a position of strength, you're ready to scoop a lot of that stuff up so that when the market rebounds, you're fully capitalized on market share and you're fully capitalized in everything you're doing. And, a couple things, we see a lot of clients buying I bonds right now. I bonds are basically free. You just log in to the Treasury website. You can do 10,000 a year right from the Treasury website per social security number. So it's not a ton of money they let you put in, but when you're, husband, wife, 2 or 3 kids, things like that, all of a sudden you can still do 40, 50,000 a year. And these things are designed to keep up with inflation because they reset every 6 months. So it's a good little spot to stick money in. I mean, you really got to go 3 to 5 years minimum in them for them to be worthwhile, because there are penalties and stuff if you're just in for 6 months and pull back out. So everything we recommend is always intermediary to long-term. We don't ever try to do short-term guessing. We don't want to day trade. Like, I love buying options and stuff like that for my own personal stock accounts and things like that. But I'm wanting to buy options that aren't triple margined and leveraged, that are saying, oh, if it hits on Friday, and today's, what's today, Tuesday? If it hits on Friday,
right? Yeah.
I hope it works. And I'm like, whoa, bro, calm down. Like, let's go a few months out. Let's try not to make 900% rate of return in 3 days. Let's see what we can do for 80% rate of return in 2 years and systematically remove a lot of risk. Because if we can mitigate risk while enhancing returns for our clients, sometimes it is slower, but it's a lot more stable. And a lot of people are okay with this, but I'm okay with just, and the more we can do that, the more peace of mind people have at night for everything they're doing, the better I feel. And hopefully the better they feel too for where they're going in life.
Absolutely. What concerns you the most about this economy, and what we may be facing in the near future?
Cascading failure is probably one of my biggest fears. Not to be like overly like crazy, but we don't control the power grid, the government does. We don't control food stores, the government does, and there's a lot of people that don't have adequate preparation that they've done for their own house, for family, just knowing, hey, if something happens here and I'm not going to the grocery store for a month or two, if we have another COVID outbreak, for example, which was just detrimental to the country and the world.
Right.
But you could see the amount of people that have just lived in bliss for so long that there were so few people that even had their own, like an own garden or a way to just get their own water, or like, hey, if I can't go in, what do I do? And, our lack of attention span that we have in America now, because people don't read books anymore. Everybody's so excited about the TV that they're just kind of being manipulated into just being told what they need to be told. And so, when I say cascading failure, you have a power grid go down for 24 hours and the people are flipping out because now they're not getting their news, they're not getting their internet, they didn't charge their phone. What am I doing? If they don't have any food stores that aren't requiring their fridge or freezer, all of a sudden they could be 3 days into something and just absolutely just a train wreck for everything they're doing. There's, I'm not a big fan of keeping a ton of cash at my house, but I personally keep cash at my house. I have some precious metals and just other barterable securities and things like that all carry actual value. So I could walk to a store or pawn shop anytime and sell them to get actual US currency back if I want to. But it's nice to have small little trinkets and things like that knows that you're kind of prepared, for those situations. And then 2, people are just riding forbearance so hard. They're not paying student loans, and that's fine. They're not paying the $800,000 a month that they were paying for student loans, which, I mean, I'm not against any of these doctors and first responders and all these people that are saving a lot of this money. I'm really happy that it's able to help them in these times. But the problem is so many of these people have taken this $800 loan and reallocated it to a new loan. a brand new truck that now that has a $700 payment, that if the student
Right.
loan comes on for $800, they can't afford the 15,
Right.
so it's like, oh, I'll just give the truck back. Okay, well, if you're 30,000 upside down on the truck or something happens, like that's not proper and prudent planning for your own family and future. So I think that's one of my biggest fears is a lot of people haven't saved up enough cash to have some form of emergency fund. They haven't done a lot of home preparation with their family and their spouse to just kind of talk about, hey, if something bad happens, even for 5 to 7 days, what's our survival plan? And then again, from there, constantly locking themselves into long-term payment plans just because they want them. And now all of a sudden the stuff from the government turns back on. My big fear in the next year or so is going to be a lot of people either declaring bankruptcy,
Mm.
which is then going to cascade into a lot of these companies having a ton of debt wiped off their books that they're not going to be able to compensate for, or,
Mhm.
a repeat of the 2008 housing crisis where a lot of these people that haven't had to pay for their mortgage but haven't been evicted because there's basically living in squatter rights are going to have to get back to evictions going in again. And then all of a sudden now a ton of people may get evicted. They don't have a place to live. They can't afford to buy the next place at the new rates. And there could be a glut of housing inventory that hits the market too, which isn't going to help anybody either.
Yeah. Yeah. So what kind of, what would you suggest? What are some of the practical steps that our viewers can take to be financially prepared?
Yeah. So I would say, practically speaking, a very basic run through of your budget. Pull out your bank statements, pull out your credit card, whatever. If you're using credit cards, if you're using debit cards, whatever, but literally sit down at the table, just like our parents used to do, and reconcile your checkbook. Even if you're not using a real checkbook, but say, hey, why do I have a $98 bill to the YMCA? I haven't been there in 18 months. Oh, I forgot I got that in 2019. And I've just,
Right.
because there's a lot of debt that we keep constantly paying for because it's just stuff we don't use.
Right.
Something as simple as like $4.99 a month for Hulu. But we realized we watched Hulu once a quarter, maybe, because we'd log in for a specific movie that was only on there, but we were paying, $18 for something we'd never used. And we just didn't get rid of it because it was convenient to just have it if we wanted it. I was able to free up over $300 of monthly payments in my own budget by just doing our annual reconciliation through stuff that just saying, we just don't use this anymore.
Right. Right.
And then from there, if you then can find out what your true monthly budget is, and if it's your hard fixed costs are $3,500 a month, and then all your variable costs are $1,500 a month. Well, if you only have $4,000 a month come in, you covered all your fixed costs and you just have to tighten way down on the variable cost. And so you have a big month that comes in, cool. You go back and you restock some other stuff that you had at home when you have more of the, income fluctuation. But if you don't have the savings set aside to be able to cover 3 to 6 months of hard cost, now all of a sudden you can be forced into a job market that may be bleak because they're not hiring because the big companies are having, negative earnings reports. And somebody that was making $100,000 a year gets offered a $75,000 a year job. And their paycheck to paycheck, they don't have the ability to wait it out a week or two and do a few more interviews because they want to provide for their family. So now they're taking a 25% pay cut because they just don't do a lot of the simple steps to start protecting yourself from the beginning. And that's like the foundational stuff for me. That's very much understanding your debt levels, understanding your cash flow, and then understanding just finances in general. And so that's why, planning to us is so important because we literally build on the back of those three main things, because those are the largest rocks that people run into and, wreck. And so if we know our debt and we're paying it down systematically and we're getting ahead on the ones that are higher interest, amazing. If we understand our cash flow and how much is coming in and how much is going out and how we can tighten and adjust things, we're able to pivot and we're strong in a situation compared to so many other people that don't even have a clue what their numbers look like. And then as we continue to grow that financial understanding, thanks to great people like you and other people out there that are just constantly pouring into their subscribers and constantly pouring into their followers, like, hey guys, be looking out for this. And have you thought about that? And hey, have you seen what happened with the mob over here? And these are things we need to be prepared for in case it happens. I mean, really, it's from patriots like you that are really even helping get so much word out to so many people that haven't even been paying attention, to actually start looking inward to a lot of the stuff that their own family needs to be preparing for. And I think with that, a lot of people that can self-reflect into what's most important to their family. Maybe they don't need football tickets anymore because now they want to stockpile some other stuff instead around their house because they want their family to be prepared because they'll just watch the game on TV that week. You know, because in America, we have a really bad problem with just too much discretionary spending on things we don't even enjoy. And one of the biggest things we talk to our clients about is let's find the things that you love. And let's just spend a ton of money on the things you love. Like, I know unequivocally you love your wife and you like buying flowers and you like doing things to serve her and nurture the relationship in your household with your kids and everything like that. And I also know that if things tightened up, you would sacrifice stuff from your own. I'm sorry if I'm sharing too much personal of your stuff, but you would tighten up on those things because you want to make sure you're serving your wife. You want to make sure you're serving your kids and continuing to run the patriarch of the family. And so that's what a lot of the times we focus on clients is like, when's the last time you had a date? When's the last time you hired a babysitter and went out on date night with your spouse and just really spent 3 to 4 hours pouring into each other? It may cost the same $500 that you were going to spend on this other stuff, but you're going to have a such stronger relationship and better bond together that when things do happen, that $500 was now invested in your future and your family than it was just into a night out with a bunch of friends seeing who could spend more money at the bar. Right.
Yeah, that's gang. This is exactly the kind of conversations I have on a regular basis with Chris and his team. Now, I understand you and your team are willing to individually talk to members of our audience who are interested in having the same kind of, shall we say, maybe it's audit is not a good word, I know, but something akin to an examination of some kind of what.
Sometimes you got to take just a financial examination of everything you got going on.
That's right. That's right. Is there an email they can contact you with that or your team where they can schedule a call with you?
Yeah, we sent it over to your team so that way we had it right. John Swenson is running all of our operations here. He's just Jon. So John, Jon at lhplanning.com. So LH is short for Lighthouse. That's us. So John at lhplanning.com. Shoot him over an email and just say, hey, we're interested in talking to one of the guys on the team. And we have a bunch of time blocks that are set up to just individually meet with folks and just kind of quick snapshot of their situation, kind of what they got going on. If there's quick 1 or 2 tips that we can hand them, we just want to be able to dish back out to your audience and pour back into them. And then if there's some people that meet the criteria to probably do more in-depth financial planning, then our different planners will be able to help them kind of identify that and see if there's areas that we can truly help them build and grow the legacies they're trying to create as well for their families.
Awesome. Excellent. Yes, we'll have that John at lhplanning.com email underneath this video as well. This is an amazing opportunity, gang. You get to come into my inner circle here and you get to see who I've entrusted my finances with. Lighthouse Planning, we use them both for our business here at Turley Talks, as well as my personal finances. And you guys are going to absolutely love them. I couldn't recommend anyone more. Chris Robinette, man, it was awesome catching up with you again. Thanks so much for everything that you do. You help more people than you can ever even imagine. And just thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Yes, Steve, absolutely. I really appreciate you guys and the opportunity to be here. And again, if you get enough interest or people ask enough questions, love to come back. Maybe we can do a deeper dive into a couple certain different topics and things like that. If there's some just poison interest from people that want to learn some specific on stuff, love to come back or bring somebody back from the team that's an expert in those different areas and really help dive into your community however we can, my friend.
Absolutely. Gang, don't miss this opportunity. It's wonderful. Remember, schedule a time to talk with Chris's team about how they can help you in your situation just by emailing John at lhplanning.com. Thanks so much, Chris. God bless, bro.
Thanks so much, sir. I appreciate you.